I've spent the last 30 years as a professional singer, hiring, producing, and performing with some of the best vocalists in the business. And here's what I've learned. Singers don't fail because of a lack of talent. They fail because they don't know where they fit. I'm Tim Davis, and I'm going to help you find your lane, whether you're wired for pop, R&B, country, gospel, classical, or something in between, so you can stop guessing and start getting hired. By the end of this video, you'll have a clue to which lane you belong in and what to focus on to build a real career as a studio singer. I hired every singer on Glee, and here's what might surprise you. Most of them could not read music. So let's settle this question once and for all. Do you need to read music in order to be a studio singer? The answer? Well, it depends on the lane that you're in. Studio singing isn't one size fits all. There are distinct camps of singers, different expectations, different skill sets, totally different paths. Let's break it down. If you want to sing on film scores, yes, you have to read. Film work is precise. You're sight reading complex arrangements, following a conductor, hitting cues that line up to picture. There's no time to learn it by ear. You either keep up or you don't. That's why when a singer contacts me about studio singing, one of the first questions I'll ask them is to rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10 as a reader. This helps me determine where they might best fit, even before hearing. But outside of the film score work, in pop, R&B, gospel, country, or commercial work, reading music almost never comes up. Some of the best studio singers alive can't read a note. They rely on their ears, their instincts, and their stylistic diversity. So before you start stressing about sight singing, let's talk about which camp you actually might belong in. Pop singers are usually non-readers, and that's fine. They bring a whole skill set that's unique to them. They can stack harmonies, match current sounds, and deliver vocals that sound like they belong on the radio today. These singers are usually younger, and here's why. Pop evolves so fast. Stylistic nuance, tone, and attitude change constantly. 1 minute you're current, and literally the next, you've aged out. Trust me, I lived it. I remember being on a session in my 30s, and I overheard some singers in their 50s wondering why they weren't called for the new Justin Bieber record. I literally prayed, God help me to never be deluded enough to think that I should be getting calls like that in my 50s. Work for pop singers includes pop records, award shows, theme park recordings, touring gigs, demo vocals for artists, radio ID jingles, commercial leads and backgrounds, and a lot more. If you can deliver that authentic current pop sound, you can work steadily, even if you can't read a single note of music. R&B singers are also typically non-readers, but they're master stylists. They're closer to pop singers than gospel singers. They have more finesse, more control, more nuance. Where gospel singers can sing the paint off the walls, R&B singers lean into nuance, detail, and finesse. Most R&B studio singers are artists in their own right. They bring a vibe, a sheen that makes the track feel expensive. Work for R&B singers includes records, touring work, gospel sessions, solo work for film, TV, commercials, and albums, to name a few. The gospel singer. Gospel singers typically are non-readers. They're ear-trained from birth. Church was their classroom. And when I say gospel, I'm talking about a style usually rooted in the Black gospel tradition. These singers have the widest age range in the industry. I know people who started in their teens and they're still working into their 70s. There's no expiration date on these singers when the sound is that authentic. Work for gospel singers includes choir sessions for records, TV commercials, and films. Here's a common caveat though. Film composers often write gospel choirs into their scores. In those cases, gospel singers do need to read. So if you've got that skill, you can work in both of the camps, or they'll pair you with someone who can really read well. The classical singer. Now, if you're a classical singer and that's all you do, to work as a studio singer, reading isn't optional. Classical singers are trained and usually trained in reading. They're vocal majors and choir veterans. They're disciplined technicians. They thrive in structured reading-heavy environments. So work for classical singers includes film scores, TV and recording sessions that require sight reading. The age span of a classical singer can vary, but here are some guidelines. Sopranos tend to age out first. That top-end agility fades over time, and they often move into singing alto. Tenors may shift into baritone, but altos and basses, they can work into their 70s. If you can sight read cold and stay consistent vocally, there's always work for you in this lane. Then there are the unicorns. Every now and then you meet a singer who can cross between all of the camps. They read like a pro and they sound authentic in multiple genres. They're really rare. In my experience, these singers almost always start out as instrumentalists. That foundation, reading music, phrasing, musicality, makes them dangerous in the best way. They can act vocally, switch styles at will. I was one of them. I didn't start singing until I was in college, but I could read fluently. I could mimic anything: pop, R&B, gospel, classical. Most people thought I was black when they first heard my voice, which honestly was the highest compliment to me. So I got called for a lot of gospel sessions and R&B sessions. And then I also got called for the heavy reading sessions like film scores. I lived in every camp. If you're one of those rare hybrids, you'll never stop working. What you should focus on. Here's the bottom line. Reading is a tool. It's not the foundation. If you want to work on film score sessions, you must learn to read. And by the way, the best way to learn isn't by taking sight reading courses. I tell people all the time, take piano lessons. It's the quickest way to learn to read. But if you want to work in pop, R&B, or gospel, invest in your ear, your tone, and your authenticity. Listen to, emulate, and study other singers. Bottom line, find your own lane and own it. I've had a lot of singers say to me, I can sing any style. Anytime a singer says that to me, I instantly doubt it. It makes me not trust them. The singers who stay booked aren't the ones checking every box. They're the ones doing one or two things better than anyone else. If you found this video helpful, share it with another singer who's trying to find their lane. And if you're serious about trying to build a real studio singing career, I'd love to see you at one of my upcoming intensives. Check out the website and find the nearest city to you.